Gorilla Sports Off Court, a post-game live reaction show following Game 3 Clippers Nuggets. What an ending to that game. We will get into that in just a minute, but this is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. So head to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you save some money today.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Wow. I'm on my phone only because I am letting everybody know that we are live. What an ending. That was insane. I actually love this comment. The most Nuggets way to win. Absolutely. This Nuggets team was up by 20 points at halftime. And it's so funny because I looked at my fiance and I said to him, when they were like, it was like still 15, I looked at him and I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. This does not feel good. This does not feel good to me at all. And he's like, it's only 15. It's fine. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is what the Nuggets do. This is such a Nuggets trending end to a game where they're up by 20 at halftime. They take their foot off the gas. And sure enough, I'm sorry, they were not up by 20 at halftime. This was the third quarter. I'm so sorry. Halftime, only up by 2. Third quarter was where they really put their foot on the gas, outscored the Clippers 35-17, and then the Clippers turned around and basically did the same thing to the Nuggets in the fourth quarter. So the game was exceptionally close, down to the wire, when it really didn't need to be. When you are up by 20 at the end of the third quarter, you really have no business having a game be this close in the fourth quarter. But this is what the Denver Nuggets do. We know that. This is not surprising. We're not shocked by this at all. Wow. Aaron Gordon. I want to say really quickly, we oftentimes gas up and celebrate how phenomenal Nikola Jokic is in big moments, right? Whether it's his facilitating, his clutch threes, really it's more just the facilitating, in my opinion, that makes him, I mean, he's great at everything, but maybe not so much on the defensive side, but offensively, he can pretty much do it all. His facilitating ability, and I know that 3-point shot was not intended to be an assist to Aaron Gordon, but one of the things that we constantly give Nikola Jokic credit for is these no-look passes, getting the ball to his guys in ways that you're like, I don't even know how that happened. I blinked my eyes and it just did. But what we don't talk about enough is his teammates being ready for that. Aaron Gordon, in the final milliseconds of this game, was ready in that moment. He always stays ready when it comes to Nikola Jokic. That was not intended for Aaron Gordon. I think Nikola Jokic wanted that to be a 3-point shot because he does make those from time to time, especially down to the wire. So it was not intended for Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon nonetheless was prepared. He was ready, and he stays that way a lot when it comes to Nikola Jokic. I had said before the season started, I'm going to just flash you back there because I'm seeing some comments of people saying, trade Jamal. I've seen people talk about Michael Porter Jr. We all know that Christian Braun has been exceptional in his own way this season. But out of that like championship group, if you will, I said before the season started, the only 2 players, in my opinion, that should be safe in the offseason are Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. And I took a lot of heat for that comment. I'm going to find that clip. I'm going to resurface that clip so you know I'm not full of cap. I said that with my chest, and everyone said, what about Jamal? What about MPJ? We're seeing in this season alone that they are not the most reliable. Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic were the 2 players that I felt before the season started deserved to be the only safe players, and everybody else you could play chess with. Once we lost KCP, I said, start playing chess across the board then. And the only 2 that you leave alone are Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. In moments like this is where you see what I was talking about. Aaron Gordon on both sides of the floor making an impact. So much so that you've got James Harden throwing punches that he can't even land. That's the only reason he avoided an ejection, is that he doesn't know how to punch. It absolutely was a punch thrown. Don't try to say he just shoved. No, he went for his neck. Those are fighting words. You may as well spit in my eye or flip me off. It's about the same. You go for my neck. That's personal. Now I'm pissed. Shout out to Zubat. Zubats, player of the game, defensive player of the game for the block of the game, which was keeping Aaron Gordon away from James Harden, because we know James Harden isn't that guy. We know he's not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. Sit down, okay? You're soft. So this got chippy. This got intense. This is what you expect out of a 4-5 series in the playoffs. Now, before we get into the excitement of a win and a tied series now between the Nuggets and the Clippers, let's talk about the things that did not go as swimmingly. Okay. Big one here is that fourth quarter play. You really cannot afford, as this Nuggets team, to at all take your foot off the gas, whether it's offensively or defensively. One, in the playoffs, period. Two, against the hottest team in the NBA. Let's flash ourselves back to what this Clippers team looked like through March and into April. They were not effing around, not even a little tiny bit. Okay. Kawhi Leonard playing at a very high level, Zubats playing at a high level, James Harden, you name it. They've got guys on this team that prove down by 20 doesn't mean a whole lot to them. You can't afford to have that in the playoffs, period. You certainly can't afford to have that playing the Clippers. In a 4-5 series, this is the type of basketball you expect to see. Down to the wire, highly competitive, going back and forth, and that's what we saw. What I feel the most disappointed about is I think the confidence boost that this Nuggets team could have really played off of was getting a dominating, convincing, big win in game 3 the same way, or in game 4 the same way they got it in game 3 by the Clippers, to kind of even the playing field. Because game 1, highly competitive, back and forth, Nuggets took that one. Game 2, highly competitive, back and forth, the Clippers took that one. Then you got a domination by Clippers in game 3. I wanted to see that in game 4 for the Nuggets to kind of even this playing field out, right? And technically, it is evened out. It's a tied series now. The Nuggets will bring it back home. We know altitude will play a factor. I know people don't want to go there, but it is the truth. Trust and believe. I know a thing or two about altitude. I've lived here my entire life. And when I go somewhere else and do a workout class, I'm super effing woman. It's just the facts of the matter. So altitude will make a difference. And the Nuggets, historically, pretty decent at defending home court. We know last season in the playoffs, not so much. Don't talk about it. Timberwolves series, I don't want to go there. Not so effing much. However, this was a true Denver Nuggets fashioned win. Down to the wire, and it didn't need to be. Let's talk about the third quarter, because that one was crucial for the Nuggets. The Nuggets were up by 2 at halftime, okay? Then they outscored the Clippers 35-17 in that third quarter. But then in the fourth quarter, it was absolutely reversed. The Clippers outscored the Nuggets 34-16. Okay, so you let them do to you what you had just done to them. You just can't allow that. So really, the Nuggets outscored the Clippers in the first quarter and in the third quarter. Which were the 2 quarters in the regular season that seemed to be the momentum shifters for the Nuggets, either in a good way or a bad way? It was always the first and the third. So where we've got to work out with this Nuggets team is that second and that fourth. Now, I want to just go ahead and say this on record, and I'm going to go ahead and just take this thing off the screen really quick so you can hear me loud and perfectly effing clear, okay? And then we're going to pop some comments back up on the screen, and then we'll get that thing back up on the screen. But let me say this perfectly clear and loud AF, so that everybody can hear it. StatMuse, the verified StatMuse account with a lot of followers today, really kind of pissed me off. The stat read, the Nuggets are 7-0 without Russell Westbrook. Now, the airheads, the idiots, the Westbrook haters took that and ran with it without any context, of course, because typically the Twitter trolls, who are also idiots, don't really do any type of research or have any type of factual information before they run their mouths. We know this. We're not shocked by this behavior, okay? But let me just clear the air really quick, StatMuse. In those 7 wins without Russell Westbrook, where he was injured, the Nuggets played an injury-riddled Hornets team, missing the majority of their starting lineup. They played back-to-back the Pelicans, who were exceptionally injured this season and pretty embarrassing in a lot of ways. Then they played Orlando, so okay, all right. Then they played the sorry Phoenix Suns. And then in those last two games that were without Russell Westbrook that were wins, it was against the Portland Trailblazers. So let's provide a little context before we keep going with this narrative about Russell Westbrook. Is Russell Westbrook perfect? No, absolutely he's not. But you know what? I even see some Nuggets fans at times, but mostly it's the Westbrook hate club. It is so interesting how often we blame a 30-something-year-old Russell Westbrook, or we put heat on a young Peyton Watson or a Jalen Pickett, but we don't as much talk about the max contract players that are scoring under 10 points in a playoff game. Let's start talking about that with a bigger volume in our voice, shall we? Let's stop pushing this Westbrook crap because it's just not going to work here, especially on this show, okay? It's really not. It's weird. You're obsessing over somebody who isn't even playing right now due to injury. Why are we talking about it? Why are you talking about it? It's so interesting how often we talk about Russell Westbrook either being non-existent or detrimental, but we don't really talk about what he does really well for this team. We also have a really hard time letting our Twitter fingers type out Michael Porter Jr. on nights where he has 3 effing points in a playoff game. Is it a coincidence or is it not that Michael Porter Jr. produces offensively and a win is had? And you have a 20-point lead in the third quarter. Michael Porter Jr. gave you 17 tonight. 17 points, okay? So that's more points than games 1 and games 3 combined. Okay? So you got to keep the same energy, Nuggets Nation, and everybody else out there. Because if we're being completely transparent and honest here, this tiny little contract we gave Russell Westbrook, a 17-year vet who's 30-something years old, doesn't mean as much to me as the max contract players who aren't showing up. So let's talk about that. Who didn't show up tonight for this Nuggets team? Jamal, you want to see more than 13 points, for sure. I said on the last show, we have yet to see the Jamal Murray heroics yet, and you need to see them. They're going to matter in games 5, 6, 7. This series is tied now. Every game matters. Every minute matters. Every quarter matters, okay? We have not yet seen Jamal Murray be playoff Murray just yet. Imagine how much different this series looks when you get out of Jamal what I would argue got him his big contract and extension in the first place. It's that X factor. It's that playoff play. It's that mean mugging, shoulder shrugging, Jamal Murray energy. You haven't seen it one time in this series, ladies and gentlemen. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. You haven't really seen the Jamal Murray heroics one time this season, this postseason. Imagine how different this series looks if you had seen that by now. Game 3 might have been a little closer. Game 2 might have been a dub. I get it. Why are you so negative, Liv? Why are you so negative? They just won. Well, because in true Nuggets fashion, that game was a heart attack and didn't need to be one. Okay? You've got this Nuggets team who in this game led by as many as 22 points. That 22-point lead did not come in the first half. No. That came in the third quarter. And I'm sweating it down to the wire. I'm looking at the bottle of vodka in the cabinet going, that sure looks good. At 6 p.m. on a Saturday? Nuggets, we have no business being here and stressing this way. Come on. So Some of you out there are perfectly okay and comfortable with celebrating 13-point performances. I am not. I'm sorry, I am not. I will not celebrate that. Matter of fact, I will go ahead and say this much. If the Nuggets make it past this Clippers team, you're facing an OKC team on 9 days of rest. How does that sound? Horrible. Terrifying. No, thank you. I'm good. Okay. So some of you might be okay with 13 points out of Jamal Murray. We barely squeaked this one by, you guys. Barely. Okay. Barely. And that comes with a Clippers team that only shot 33% from the 3-point line. I have a feeling they'll figure it out a little bit better in game 5. Sure will. They shot 44% from the field. Kawhi Leonard only gave you 24. Pretty sure we had a game in this series that he scored 39, and you only won by 2. Come on now. Come on. Come on. I'm not going to make this all negative this whole time, this whole show. I'm not going to do that to you guys, but I am just keeping it 100 here. I'm trying to keep it as honest as humanly possible because at the end of the day, the reality is if we're going to advance past the first round, well, hell, let's just go win the whole damn thing, shall we? Right? Let's do that. But we're sitting here with a dub by 2. Don't love that. Hate that. Super uncomfortable, by the way. By 2. And I would argue the Clippers offense did not perform at the highest of levels that we know they're capable of tapping into. And also, you're not really getting that Jamal Murray that we really stinking need right about now. You're just not. You got more out of Christian Brown. You love to see that offensively, right? 17, 7, and 5. Pretty complete stat line there for him. 2 blocks, 1 steal. Let that guy get fired up, and it really does make a difference. He's got grit. He's got that dog. He's got that just extra. He gives that extra. Okay? We love to see it. So, yeah, you got to see more out of Jamal Murray. You really stinking do. You really, really, really stinking do. So, okay, really quickly, let's get some of these comments up on the screen. I see you guys commenting. I'm not ignoring you on purpose. I promise. Let me really quickly, I'm going to let people know we are still live. If you guys want to go to X and give this show link a little retweet, I'm going to call it tweet because it's still Twitter in my brain, but give it a little retweet. Let people know we're live so we can get some more action in the comment sections. You guys know I love having you here. Okay. AG saved the day. Yeah, you guys, I opened the show. If you guys weren't here at the very beginning, I opened the show by saying we talk a lot about Nikola Jokic being exceptionally impressive in terms of facilitating no-look passes, just getting the ball where it needs to be. That's what Nikola Jokic does. But what we don't talk about enough is his players always being ready for it. His teammates are always ready for whatever Nikola Jokic is going to dish out. Sometimes you blink your eyes and you miss what Nikola Jokic just did. But it always seems to be, there's a common denominator here in all of this Jokic greatness. And typically it's Aaron mother effing Gordon. Aaron mother effing Gordon that is always ready. He's always ready for Nikola Jokic, whatever that may be. And I know that shot was not intended to be a pass to Aaron Gordon, but to my point, he was ready. He is on alert. He is a smart basketball player, and you really love to see that. Okay, let's get some more comments up on the screen. You're better than me, Liv. I don't know how you're this calm after that age you make, because I was not calm downstairs, but I had to walk upstairs, plug in my equipment, make sure the stream was all set up for you guys. So that did give me a moment of a little bit of namaste while I set everything up. But trust and believe, I was a psychopath downstairs. Yes, I certainly was. Actually, I was a psychopath the moment the lead started to disappear in the fourth quarter, I was like, here we go. Here we go. They are trying to make me manic. This is what they do. They make me manic. I don't ask for this. I don't want this, but this is what they do, and I've had it. I've really had it. Okay. Jokic is a GOAT. You know what? He absolutely is. We're so blessed to watch Nikola Jokic play basketball. We really, really are. Trade Jamal for KD. Can I give you guys a hot take? It's not really that hot. It's really not. I said this to my mom at lunch today. She loves the Nuggets. Sometimes too much. She can get very emotional over these games and these losses, as can I. But I get emotional in a pissed off way. She gets emotional like she doesn't want to leave her bed. She's sad way. So very different. Mark my words. One of my fears in this offseason is that we will lose Christian Brown. Yeah. Soon. I think it will happen soon. I think when you are looking at what this Nuggets team needs, not just right now, but in the next 5 years, when you're trying to capitalize off of Nikola Jokic and take advantage of Nikola Jokic and his greatness and get him a supporting cast that works and clicks and you can just put your foot on the gas and go win it all. Sadly, I think Christian Brown has the highest stock right now. Of course, Jamal, MPJ, right? Those are guys that you automatically are like, get them gone. They're not benefiting this team anymore. It's not working. But what teams out there are looking at what MPJ or Jamal? Jamal's been a little better, but Michael Porter Jr. as an example, what are they looking at from him this season and going, we want that? I'm sorry that's going to sound a bit harsh. I get it. But you got to look at who's got the most value. Who can you get anything for, right? I worry. And I'm with you. You cannot lose Christian Brown, but I fear we will. I am just going to already prepare myself for the possibility of losing Christian Brown because I think his stock is high. I think teams look at that guy and go, we could utilize him. You're willing to play chess when it comes to a guy like CB. Not sure you're willing to play chess over MPJ or Jamal. So it's just the reality of it. And I don't mean to sound harsh. I really am not trying to sound harsh, but you know, Liv, I would love to hear you argue about Russ with Swipa, Ryan, and Matt from Lockdown Nuggets. Please, what are they saying? What are they saying? Because here's what we don't do on this show. We keep it pretty even, right? You guys have heard me call out Nikola Jokic for his defensive efforts. You've heard me do it. I've done it. And let's just take it to like a normal. What these athletes do is not normal. They don't have normal jobs. They have very impressive jobs, but they're not normal, right? Like I'm not saying that to downplay. They are exceptional, but I'm talking normal jobs. Like let's talk 9 to 5 cubicle. Okay, you're in an office building. Isn't it kind of expected that the person that gets the promotion and makes more money than you do maybe does a little more or has a little bit more responsibility or there's a little bit more pressure on their shoulders to perform a certain way, right? If I'm making coffee runs as an intern and they're expecting me to close deals at the same time, I'd be like, yeah, that's not really for me. That's not really my job. I'll help however I can, but that's not really my job. Okay. So where I have no issues is holding players who make an ass load of money a little bit more accountable than the players that don't. Is that fair? Sorry. Sue me. When you're on a max deal, sue me. My expectations are a bit higher. I didn't think that was common sense, but these days, common sense isn't so common. Okay. So, yeah. I also don't know where we got to this, and that's the one thing about like the ring culture You know, you automatically don't respect a player the same when they haven't won a championship. And while I understand the value a championship brings to the resume of a player, you don't just happen upon an MVP. You're not just a multiple year after year all-star just because. Like, Russell Westbrook has been in this league for 17 years doing what us podcasters have never done. Let's not forget, right? So I really struggle with people that are just so quick to blame a 30-something-year-old Russell Westbrook or a young P. Watt or a young Jalen Pickett or a young whatever, but I don't really see their Twitter profiles talking a whole lot about our max contract guys that just decided to sleep through the game. What? I'm sorry. What? You guys don't think it's hard for me to go into Ball Arena and be standing this far away from players that I've been hard on my podcast? Of course it is. It's part of my job. I always keep it respectful. You guys know I have nothing but respect for these guys. But if Michael Porter Jr. is showing up and only giving you 3 points in a playoff game, you better be tweeting about that as much as you tweet about a Russ turnover. Because if I remember correctly, in that Timberwolves game where Twitter lit on fire and everyone said, Russ sucks, woo, yay, preying on his downfall, that was also the same game that 4 other players on the court blew a 16-point lead. Why weren't you tweeting about that? I get it. He made a boneheaded decision at the end of that game in double overtime. He sure did. And I never strayed away from that. I said that. That was not smart. And as a 17-year vet, that was a rookie mistake. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, I sure did. But I don't see these people out there talking about the fact that why was the lead blown in the first place? Can you put that all on Russell Westbrook? No. Can you put some of that on Nikola Jokic's defensive efforts? Yep. Can you put that on Michael Porter Jr.'s threes not falling? Yep. And him not rebounding well? Yep, you sure can. So that's where I struggle. Be hard on Russell Westbrook all you want. But the people that have that weird, creepy tone in their voice, like they're assigning blame strictly to Russell Westbrook or a Peyton Watson or a Jalen Pickett when max contract players are simply not showing up. Whoa. Run it back. There's a hierarchy system here, in my opinion, for criticism. Yep, it's just how it goes. Sorry. You care a little less about DeAndre Jordan not hustling on defense than you do about Nikola Jokic. Why? Because Nikola Jokic is Nikola Jokic, right? You just do. That's life. That's life, I fear. So criticize Westbrook, fine. Whatever. But I know they say keep the same energy, but to be honest with you, when it comes to the NBA, my energy looks very different based on that moolah. Sorry, sue me, but that's truly how I feel, okay? You're on a max contract. I mean, I expect you to be playing max contract basketball. I expect you to be given maximum effort. Sue me. Sue me. Okay. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Wow. Listen. I mean, come on, guys. The expectations increase when the responsibility increases, and the responsibility increases when you're getting paid more money. Woo! Concepts, common sense. We don't have common sense these days. It's scary to me, actually. It's very scary to me. All that to say, shout out to Michael Porter Jr. 17 points for him tonight. And you know what? It just shows that when you get him a little more into it offensively, you do feel a little bit more confident about what this team can do. He is very valuable to this offense. When he doesn't show up, that's tough. Now, the largest issue is just the way in which this Nuggets team goes on a fast. Picture this. You've got a slip and slide with canola oil down the side of Mount Everest. That is how the game feels. On your belly, sliding down when our bench is playing. Got to figure that out. Benches matter in the playoffs. I would argue benches matter more than the starting lineup. Because here's what we know in the playoffs, right? The starting lineups for each of these playoff teams are good. That's why they're here. You feel me? But the difference between the goods and the greats, the first round exits and the advancers, is that bench. My gosh, that bench. The Clippers bench tonight. Math is hard at times. 16 points. The Nuggets bench tonight. 4. It makes a difference, okay? It really does. Our starters all played 42 plus minutes. Jokic had 43, and so did Christian Brown. This could be a long series. This could be a really long series. So, what you want to see is just in those minutes with the bench, you don't expect them to be perfect, right? But you want to see that maintenance happening where you can rest a guy like Nikola Jokic. And let's be real as well. This Nuggets team has been banged up. They've been dealing with illness, injury. I mean, you name it, they've had to deal with it. So you want to be able to see them get those comfortable leads and maintain them so you don't have to overwork their bodies. At this point in the season as well, most teams are riddled with injuries. Most teams are dealing with things, right, that are tough. So it's not an excuse. It's not a problem. It's just you want to be able to see when they get up by 20 in the third quarter, they're maintaining that in the fourth. And you can give an Aaron Gordon, a Christian Brown, a Nikola Jokic, a MPJ, a Jamal Murray a little bit of a break. Because, and I know this person says, drop the agendas already. No, all of this is related. So you relax. The reason I bring all this up is there's going to be a significant rest advantage. Let's say the Nuggets got this win. The series is tied. They play at home on Tuesday. Let's say this series goes the distance and the Nuggets advance. The Oklahoma City Thunder have a very large rest advantage over whoever they play next. Because I do think this series is going the distance. I don't think this series gets cleaned up well, oh my gosh, it's got to go to 6 at least. Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay. I said Nuggets in 6. Nuggets got to win the next 2. That's actually possible. That is possible. My Nuggets in 6 is still alive. Oh, I love that for me. Okay. So, the reason I bring all this up, the bench needing to be a little bit better. Get those leads, maintain those leads, give your starters a little bit of rest because OKC will have a rest advantage. And sometimes rest does not always work out in favor of a team. Sometimes rest versus rust, that is a thing. So who knows if it's beneficial to OKC. But nonetheless, one of the things the Nuggets struggled with last season was that fatigue. Their bodies just banged up right after the championship, rolling into the next season. Their bodies were banged up. Their bodies were tired. And the lack of depth for this Nuggets team this season has kind of resulted in the same thing. Our starters have played a lot of basketball this year. So you want to get those leads and hang on to them for dear life. Like your life flipping depends on it. This game is a perfect example of a Russ value because our starters are going to be drained and he is the only offense and playmaker with defense. I agree. But Let StatMuse tell you the Nuggets are better without Russell Westbrook. That's why that freaking tweet just ticked me off so bad, because it's like, come on. Come on. That provide a little context, would ya? Because that's crazy. I've already got people still on Twitter running their mouths. Just take a rest and shut up. Okay. To be honest, you want more from Jamal Murray in this game. That's a fact. That's a fact, and it is what it is. You want to see from Jamal what you get from Jamal when he's against Los Angeles. You want to see that more. You have to see that more. You really, really do. Okay. Reading some of these comments. Let me check in. Sorry, guys. That was crazy. Oh my gosh. You guys are going to be so... My family, my fiance, my friends, everyone tells me that when I'm on my phone reading a text, it's like the world around me does not exist. And I just did it on live. So now there's evidence of the crime. Dang it. Not good. When I can't do, I feel like I can multitask pretty good. And then I get on my phone and it's like, forget about it. I want to see if we will get any post-game presser clips for you guys here for the show. So I am messaging for you. Trust me. I'm messaging for you guys. Okay, yes. We do have some stuff to play for you guys, I think. Maybe not just yet, but it is on the way. Yes, here in just a moment we're going to be hearing from Coach Adelman. So, I've got you guys covered there. Isn't it funny how this works? It's so true. I told everyone at the top of the show that I looked right at my fiance when they were up by 20 and they had lost the lead. I think they were only up by 15 at that point. And I looked at him and I said, my stomach feels upset. And he's like, it's 15. They were just up by 20. Like, it's 5 points, whatever. And I said, no, you mark my words. Once they got past like 17, once they went below 17 as a lead, I knew, oh, Lord have mercy. It's not going to be good. Because what they do is you go up by 20 and naturally as a coach, you're like, cool, let's rest our guys. Let's give them a moment. They've been playing a lot of minutes. Nope, wrong. Can't afford to. Can't afford to. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Okay. We've got Coach Adelman about to be dropped into the show, so we will have that for you guys. I am just going to repost this yet again so we can get some people in here and let them know that we're still live. We're still hanging out. What is bad, David? What is bad? What is bad? I need to know. They want me to have a heart attack. I agree. I'm with you. It does feel like it's that way most games with this team. Adelman had his roughest coaching game today. I think he just didn't know what to do with Russ was out, and he didn't trust guys like Vlatko and Hunter Tyson, so he just rode the starters. Yeah, and let's give him a little bit of grace, right? What an interesting situation he was kind of thrown into, and especially coming off of a game 3, the way that went. I mean, the Nuggets just played bad, and he actually made some coaching decisions that he regretted later on in that game as well. So there's an element of learning as you go here, I think, with Coach Adelman, not just for himself personally, but also for the team and how they communicate with him and vice versa, and the chemistry there. So I do think hopefully he's, you've got a very vocal Nikola Jokic right now. Teammates have come out and said that without Coach Malone, Jokic has really stepped into that coaching role. So I think the more opportunities Adelman and Jokic get to trust one another and communicate, it'll get better every game, hopefully. There's for sure 2 more games, potentially 3 more games in this series where they can kind of iron some of that out. And that's my hope and prayer. We need defenders. Aren't you saying something? Of course. I mean, for God's sake, haven't we needed those all year? Lord have mercy. We're going to take a quick break from my yapping mouth, and let's go ahead and hear from Coach Adelman. This is just a portion of his post-game presser, but let's hear from the man that maybe did make some coaching mistakes tonight. He certainly made some in game 3 that he's already been transparent about. Let's hear from him out in Los Angeles before they get their tails on a plane and get back over to Denver. Let's hear his thoughts on the very close, very nerve-wracking dub in game 4 against the Clippers. Let's check it out.
Can you take us through just the call for the last play and your perspective on the dunk?
No timeouts, just wanted him to catch it. Was hoping he'd catch it the logo, not outside the three-point line. Obviously had a really tough shot against Zubats. So the desired catch was not where we wanted him to catch it. To our guys' credit, in the NBA, it's really true. You talk about this all season long in situational basketball. When the shot goes up, there's no reason not to crash everybody. So it was good to see our guys do that. Obviously, you could say it's a lucky play, but that's a big athletic man, and he met the ball early. I couldn't tell if it was good or not. I was preparing for overtime. So this was a game where I was really proud of us for 3 quarters. They have a lot to be proud of in the fourth quarter. They were incredible in that quarter with their defense and the way they picked up. And, it's one of those things where that's going to be on NBA TV someday. And I'm glad we won the game. I'm glad it'll be on Nugget Day and not Clipper Day. So, hell of a win, 2-2 going home.
David, you spoke about Jokic trying to find I'm sorry, Ramona. Trying to find a balance and being more aggressive, and maybe going back to the film and looking at it. Obviously, he was pretty impressive today. What did you see there? What was the difference in his performance and his scoring performance?
Yeah, I thought he was more aggressive to shoot the ball. I did think our spacing was better, which allows him to get to space and score, and not in the fourth quarter, when they junked it up, but throughout the game. And he did a great job of finding soft spots in their defense. We did a much better job in this game in the first 3 quarters of slowing down and getting organized. And it showed, early in the game, much more of a half-court offensive team. Not just racing the ball up and down. And if you can do that, I think Nikola thrives in that. Like I said, in the regular season, we were a race it up and down the court kind of team. I saw a much more under control basketball team those first 3 quarters, which got us that lead. And we have to be able to continue, that in the fourth if we're going to win two more games in the series. So, I really mean that. Like, organized basketball allows guys to play they can take a deep breath, they can see the spacing, they can make the right basketball play. So really proud of the guys, and obviously Nikola was the 3-time MVP we all know.
Coach, is there any chance that last shot was a pass?
No.
I mean, because it is not that easy to catch the ball in midair. I mean, usually a guy like that can time it.
Right.
Aaron Gordon can time a rebound.
No, I think
it almost felt like a lob the way he caught it.
Yeah, and the guys on the bench, because we had no timeouts left, everyone said it in the huddle, make sure you just get a shot up. When you get a shot up, it gives everybody an opportunity. And like I said, would rather have him have a much deeper catch. But we got the ball in his hands. You can't stop the game then. He gets a shot at the rim. And obviously Aaron made an enormous play.
Again, it's a true reflection of AG just being in the right place at the right time. And it feels like when it comes to him and Nikola Jokic and their chemistry with one another, that is literally what happens with them all the time. All the time, we're seeing Aaron Gordon just be in the right place at the right time and allowing Nikola Jokic to be the player that he is. It certainly didn't appear like a lob, and I'm pretty sure Adelman just said it was not, but that's how it looks when you've got Aaron Gordon constantly ready for whatever Nikola Jokic is going to deal at him next. When Jamal starts losing himself under pressure, DA should replace him with Pickett for a minute. Listen, I think my favorite version of Jamal this season was the one where he was watching other point guards play in his position and play better. You know what I mean? I think it's good. I think in life, it's good to have a little competition. I think it's a little healthy, friendly competition is awesome. And you put a little bit of a fire under his butt. Jamal likes to play. He plays best in what always looks like a narrative or a storyline. And I'm not saying he gives more effort in those moments, but it certainly feels like it fuels him in different ways. So yeah, throw Jalen Pickett in there. Let Jalen Pickett. Playoff ball is different. You're going to have to give Jalen Pickett an opportunity to get out there and loosen up a little bit and get some of those threes to start falling. And that might be motivating for Jamal Murray. You never know. Okay. I believe we have another. This one's about 5 minutes long of Coach Adelman speaking. We will play this. And if we don't have any players coming in here in a little bit, we'll go ahead and hop off. And then you guys can find all of those player comments on our YouTube as well as on our social channels. But for now, let's hear the second part of Coach Adelman's post-game presser, hear what he has to say, any final thoughts that he's got. We'll reconvene. We'll see where the players are at and if they've talked yet. And then we will enjoy the rest of our Saturday. So let's check out the second half of Coach Adelman's thoughts after this game.
David, are you able to almost take a sigh of relief now that the series is tied at 2-2 and it's a best of 3 now?
No. What I was excited about is things that we talked about the last, 36 hours. I felt like, all the themes that we had said we got to be better at. We were much more physical defensively at the point, with Harden and Kawhi. Like I said, I thought we slowed down offensively and controlled the pace of the game. And then to their credit, like I said, I thought we were the better team for 3 quarters, obviously. And I give them credit. Their fourth quarter, the intensity, the energy they had was extremely impressive. And we have to learn from that. Obviously, easier to learn after a win. But we'll watch that film, and we're going to break that thing down. Win, lose, whatever. It's game 5. And each one of these games, like I said, is its own thing. It's its own chapter in the book. So learn from what we have to learn from, but also take the positives away from things we really struggled in Game 3 with, and that the guys came out and said, we're going to change that for Game 4 to give us a chance to win a really high-level playoff game. So proud of the guys, in that area.
You gave the Clippers a lot of credit for that fourth quarter. They do pick up their defense intensity, but they're down 20, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you guys also maybe offensively took your foot off the gas a little bit, maybe even defensively try not to foul? How would you describe just off the top of your head?
I agree with that. I thought we lost our aggressiveness offensively, and I also thought, sometimes when you see whatever the defense is, whether it's, a zone, it's a matchup zone, it's a box and one, whatever it is, sometimes you just got to run your stuff and let it come to you. And I thought we were staring at it, trying to figure it out. And I think, that's something we can work on and talk about. We haven't had issues with zones throughout the season. So it's nice to be able to look back on it after a win, and improve on it. But yeah, I agree with that. Our aggressiveness, and I thought defensively, look, I ran the guys, and I knew, keeping the 4 of the 5 starters to start the fourth, I was taking a chance, and Jamal was the only guy not out there. So we'll learn from that too. Look back at the rotation, who we're comfortable with to start that quarter to give us those first 3 minutes. So maybe there's more than one fresh body coming in, to win a game like that. So, like I said, much to learn from, but really excited, having the win.
Coach, talking point for you yesterday and Thursday night, looking at film, more physicality, bring the fight to the Clippers, bring the fight.
Yeah.
Today you guys did that, sometimes literally. What were, some of the things that went into that, and, what were some of the things that prepared to that, and just the resilience that you guys showed?
Yeah, I think when you lose a game like we did in Game 3, you don't just lose the game on the scoreboard, but you feel like you got punked mentally. That's not a good feeling. And when you have another chance, that's why the NBA playoffs are so amazing, is there's the next chance until somebody ultimately wins the series. We had to respond. And I love the fight from our guys, standing up for each other. We have to be smart in those situations, obviously, but that is the playoffs. And I felt like they played that way in Game 3, and we did not. And today it was completely different. I saw something in the eyes of our players. You saw the physicality early in the game, the way we picked up full, challenging them. We have to challenge them. You can't just let them walk the ball down the floor like they're in a pickup game because they're too talented. And so Game 5 is going to be the same thing, and it'll be the same thing from them. What's the next level you can take it? How mentally tough can you be while still, pushing that physicality? And I said it before the series, physicality first, IQ next. You have to engage early in the game. If you don't, you're telling the officials, you're telling the opponent that you didn't come to play. And we certainly came to play tonight.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Gordon was a hero tonight, but what's your message to those who say he should have been ejected in the scuffle that happened earlier?
Then a lot of people should have been ejected. There was a lot of people in that scuffle. You can define whatever you want to define with open hand, all that stuff, but I saw a lot of people starting that and ending it. So I don't think Aaron has a reputation of being that person. Obviously, in those situations, you have to be intelligent, but These are two teams trying to do something really special, trying to move on. And, I thought they handled it the right way. I didn't think there was anything extracurricular after the fact that you could say was dangerous. And I thought both teams were just going at it, trying to win a game. And I didn't see anything after the fact, after the, whatever you want to call it. Everybody seemed like they were cool. Let's go play. So we both know what this is. There's a ton of respect on both sides for the players. These guys have been playing each other for a long time, two veteran teams. So I thought it was handled correctly.
We do know what this is. It's called James Harden is soft as Charmin Ultra Strong. Okay. Just had to get that out there. No, at the end of the day, it is playoff basketball. I actually love when they get all chippy, and I love when they're fighting. That sounds super dark, but you know what I mean? Like, I love that. It's like, okay, that's passion. They're hungry for it. They're competitive. But James, you are not him. You are not that guy. Sit down, okay? And you are lucky that your teammate Zubats is as good at blocking as he is, because you were not prepared for that AG smoke. You nearly jousted him in the neck. And I don't think you were ready for all that. I don't think you were ready for the smoke that was coming. Oh, soft is Charmin Ultra Strong. Truly, truly, truly. But I loved that. Loved seeing CB. I mean, basically laughing in James Harden's face. CB is one of those guys that, like, when there is some like, back and forth and Rudy Gobert dunk, CB doesn't back down for nothing. He does not care. And I love that about him. And you can see that in the way that he plays basketball as well. Like, he brings that energy. He brings that oomph, and you got to love him for it. So, okay, you guys, I was reading through some of these last second comments before we get out of here. And let's see. I'm looking really quick. Yeah, you guys, I mean, here's the deal. We've got a series that's now tied. The Nuggets will come home, and you hope and pray that they defend home court well. I believe they had the full power to win both game 1 and game 2 and let game 2 just kind of slip through their fingers, unfortunately. But you just hope and pray they come home and defend home court well. Their bodies stay good and healthy. And Nuggets in 6. That was my initial prediction, and I'm really hoping it stays true. Nuggets in 6 is the hope and prayer. But if the Nuggets do advance past the Clippers, there are a lot of little mistakes that need to be handled before meeting an Oklahoma City Thunder team that has a very significant rest advantage over you. So we're going to wrap things up. We've almost been live for an hour. We're going to wrap things up. I do believe Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic will be speaking after this game. And so you can find all of that content and that footage on our YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to Guerrilla Sports on YouTube, and then following us on all things socials. We'll post them there as well. And of course, following Tuesday night's game, we will have a post-game live show. So make sure you are tuning into that. And we'll have an off-court episode Monday at 12:30. So we'll dive into all things NBA playoffs across the board, not just the Nuggets. Preview that Tuesday game a little bit. And then, of course, following Tuesday's game, we will have a post-game live. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. It's Saturday, right? Yes, Saturday. Make good decisions, go have a ball, enjoy your evening, and go Nuggets. Again, not a perfect game. Obviously, some mistakes were made, but of course, happy to see the series tied. I think if this Clippers team would have gone up in this series, it would have felt really uncomfortable going into game 5. So Nuggets taking it back home with some momentum, hopefully, and they can channel that into another dub and be up in this series. But again, a lot of things they still have to work on. I don't mean to be Miss Negative Nancy. I know they got the win. Trust me, I know. So, yeah, trying to be positive, but also be realistic and understand that there's a lot of things that they've got to continue to grow on, build on, improve upon in order to not just win this series, but also compete in the next round against OKC. So love you guys so much. Happy Saturday. Go Nuggets. And we will see you Monday, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time for an off-court show. And then Tuesday following the game, we'll have a post-game live show as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love to you. Go Nuggets. And we'll see you very, very soon.